Well, hello, all of my crafty friends. Today I am here with the Not Too Shabby Pup in a Cup YouTube inspiration hop. I am going to bring in today some fun images. This stamp set was created and illustrated by Jamie. It is so super cute. She's over at the Not Too Shabby shop and she's the owner. And this stamp set was her first that was created. I'm also going to be using some Gina K amalgam ink as well as some Inky Antics reversible sequins. I'm going to be using some holographic vinyl from Cricut as well as some of their Art Deco vinyl. I don't think I actually am going to use that as we get going. I'm going to use the Whimsical Garden and some of their glitter cardstock in this video. I'm also going to be bringing in some Bristol Smooth cardstock because I am going to be trying for the first time the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring in my Misty and I'm going to start doing some stamping. I am going to be stamping out this pup in a cup a total of 5 times. And what I've decided that I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp him out and I'm going to increase his size each time just to kind of show you guys some fun things that you can do with this super cute image that Jamie created. Please make sure that you guys are looking in the description box for all the information, but this hop is a hashtag hop, so I have the hashtag N2S Pup in a Cup in my title. You can click on it and find all of us who are participating in the hop. You won't be disappointed. In addition to that, there is going to be a $25 giveaway to the Not Too Shabby shop, and all you have to do is hop along, comment on the videos, and then come back to the Not Too Shabby YouTube channel on June 25th to find out if you won. Also, Jamie is giving us a coupon code that's going to be in the description box that you can get 10% off and free shipping on over $35. So now you see I have brought in some of my holographic vinyl and I'm going to stamp out 2 more of the pups, and this is just so that I can create a kind of a mask, but it's not really a mask. I'm using my Stazon ink because this is a very slick surface and the Stazon ink does not rub off unless you apply alcohol to it. You can clean it off with alcohol, but it will stay on for us to be able to use it. So what you saw me just do is cut a slit in the center of 2 of my pups. I know that probably was a little bit scary seeing me bend the cup, but I promise it's going to be okay in the very end. And all I'm doing is I'm cutting out the centers of the cup because I want to put some of the Inky Antics sequins behind it to kind of create a nice effect, some glittery effect, because you guys know I absolutely love my shimmer. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that, and when you're cutting this sequin, you just want to make sure you don't cut on your actual thread lines, like don't cut the threads apart, and you are going to get a little bit of shedding, but it all stays together. And so I'm just going to place that behind this panel, and this is going to be our actual front panel, and I'm going to take some 1/8 inch score tape and I'm going to put it around the back where I'm going to be placing the sequins. And once I do that, I will peel up all of this release paper and then I'm going to lay it down and seal it, and it won't move anymore. Now we are going to have another backer because I'm going to use some foam in the end to pop it up, but that is all you need for that portion. Now I'm going to come back to this piece with the holographic vinyl. I've let it set aside for a few minutes, and what I'm doing is I'm cutting the cup and the pup away from each other, and I'm going to use both pieces, but I'm using them separately for what I'm creating. So I'm going to cut both of those out, and I'm using this next cup and I'm just kind of paper piecing, if you will, except I'm using vinyl. And so I'm going to create kind of a holographic cup for this particular pup to be sitting in. So we have 2 pups sitting in our sequin cups, and I used that brown color because I thought it looked more like coffee. Now I'm going to use this holographic cup because I wanted it to look more like a tumbler, and that's what we end up with. And I go ahead and do both of those. And like I said, I'm going to keep the pup part because I'll use that a little bit later. So now that I have that part placed and pieced with the vinyl, I'm going to cut those out, and I'm doing all fussy cutting today, which is not what I normally do, but I am because these are super simple images to play around with. So now we're going to move on to our large cup. Now this is the single one that I stamped out that has all of the layers to the cup. And what I did was I just trimmed around the outside and then cut all the inside. Now I did have my scan and cut me out about 10 of the shadow pieces of this cup, just because I wanted to stack them up, because you got it, I gotta have a piece of a shaker. I haven't done a shaker in like 2 weeks, and you guys know I love my shakers. So I am going to go ahead and glue them all together after I took my time off camera and fussy cut all of the centers out of them. And they don't need to be perfect, but you want to have them pretty similar. I will say drawing a small pencil mark around where you want to cut was very beneficial for me. So once I got all of them glued together, I then took a piece of acetate and backed it with the acetate using some additional 1/8 inch score tape. So now I'm going to glue that last one on top. I was deciding whether I wanted to back one with the actual image. And I'm going to bring in some sequins from Honeybee Stamps. This is the vintage lace, and then the other that I'm going to use is the warm honey. These are so beautiful, and I'm just going to take them and I'm going to fill up the inside of our shaker, and then I will use some more score tape and add additional acetate behind this, just because I like that glass look. So that's why I typically use acetate in the front and on the back. And it also helps a lot with lining it up on whatever type of base you're going to be using. So that's the reason that you always see me using acetate on both sides when I'm doing a shaker. So then I just add a little bit more of the 1/8 inch score tape to tape the actual pup image to the front of the acetate. And please excuse me, I got a little bit overzealous and I got off the camera, but that is what I was doing. And so now we have a cute little shaker piece that's going to go with this too. So we have our sequin pups in the short cups, we have our holographic pups in the medium-sized cups, and we have our large pup in our shaker cup. How cute is that? So now I have cut out some mask for these pups in the short cups because they're on our actual card base. So I'm going to go ahead and use the mask, which is the Simon Says stamp masking paper, and I'll have everything linked below. And these are some of the colors that I am using for the background that I'm going to create, and I will have those listed as well. And I am just going to scribble. Now, I told you guys this is my very first time using the zigs. I have used my Arteza markers and I have used my Caran Brush Pro markers. However, I did not have the zigs until recently, so I decided that I wanted to give them a shot because, you know, I've heard great things about them, that they are bright, they're vibrant, they run all over the place, and all those things. Now, I have to tell you, I've got to play with it a little bit more, especially when it came to the background. Although it did come out the way that I wanted it to, it was not a very easy process. Like, I felt like I was having to work a little bit more than I thought I would. But in the end, it came out really well, and I simply continued to add more water. I think that initially I was being very conservative with the water, and as I added more water, I gained more of the effect that I was looking for. And I did do multiple layers. I only show this one on screen, but I think I did this a total of 3 times, just kind of mixing in the color. And I really just wanted just a light bit of that purple. You guys know that's my staple color. It's got to make an appearance in pretty much all of my cards, and so I had to have it in there. So now to top that off, I am going to bring in my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen, which I think is my other staple. Like, I think I use this in every single video. And you guys, I have not had to change out this pen the entire year, if you think about how many times times I've used it, that is pretty amazing. So I'm just going over the entire background with that to give additional shimmer as if we needed any more. And now I have dried that, and it did bow just a little bit, but I am going to use the foam on the back, and that's going to help with that. So now for these two particular pups, these are the only two that I'm going to color on screen. I'm going to color the other three off screen, but I am using the brown and deep brown, and again I'm bringing in my Spectrum Noir sparkle pen because that is what I enjoy using when I am doing the watercoloring on the Bristol Smooth paper. Now with your watercolor markers, Bristol Smooth paper is going to be your best bet with working with it. It doesn't move very well when you're using watercolor paper, Nina paper, or anything like that, but you get great effects, great watercoloring effects when you're using your brush markers with Bristol Smooth paper. So I like to use my Spectrum Noir pen because it is a water-based pen and it gives me sparkle and movement all in one. So that is the reason why you typically see me when I'm using my brush markers, I blend out my colors with my Spectrum Noir pen, and it does a very good job. Like, I will say that when I was playing with the pups, I was getting really good movement with these colors, and they blended very well. It was pretty effortless, and that's why I said I think I have to play with them a little bit more when it comes to the background, or maybe it was just that learning curve because it was the very first time that I had actually used them. But I'm going to play with them a little bit more, so you guys be looking out for another video. I think I want to do something like a comparison between the three types of markers that I have, just to kind of see, because you know I have all three, and I know that sometimes we think that there are all of these differences, and I'm not quite sure. I will say the Keionna markers are a little bit different from all of these others that I have been using. So I'm just going in, and I brought in a black to do the nose of our little critters, and I am not a pro when it comes at these water brush markers, so I did get a little bit of the brown in the eyes, but I just used a white gel pen to fix that up in the end, and it all worked out completely perfect. So I'm bringing in the same color to do the other little pup, and all I'm doing is I'm putting my darkest color right around the edges, and then I'm going right underneath that or right beside it and adding in my second color, and then I'm using that marker to kind of blend it out. And if I needed to, I could go back in with that darker color to add some more shadowing. I did not really feel the need to do that, but that is always an option when you're using the zigs. And that was one of the things that I've always heard, was that you can add additional pigment to the wet paper with the zigs, whereas with the Artezas it's a little bit harder. I will be testing that theory for myself. So like I said, you guys stay tuned, stay with me, and we will be coming back with another video for that. So I hope that you guys have an opportunity to hop along with us. Make sure that you like, subscribe, and leave comments. I want to see one of my amazing crafty friends win this giveaway. If you guys are here for the first time, I just wanted to say welcome. Thank you guys for coming. I hope that you guys find content that you enjoy and that you will subscribe and become a part of the community with me. There's also a little bell icon over by the subscribe button that you can click, and you can be notified every time I upload a video. And I try to upload videos 3 to 4 times per week. I don't have a set schedule except for Sundays. I try to do my Sunday series every Sunday. But other than that, I try to upload as much as I can during the week, so you'll see a lot of me. So now we're getting toward the end of doing all of our coloring, and I'm going to go in with that black again to do this nose. And then the last thing that I do is I bring in some gray because I wanted to try to shadow that foam. I feel like on the first one, it was a little bit dark, and this was the first time that I kind of thought, oh, these colors are kind of pigmented, because I didn't feel like I put down too much color, but I did feel like there was a lot of gray that came out with the little edge of it that I put in. I did go in and shade the edges of my cups, and this is what we come up with our two little short pup cups. I was trying to show the shimmer in the background, but with all the sequins, it's a little bit more difficult to see, but I hope you guys get the idea. So now we're ready to move on to starting to get this together. So I'm taking my water brush, which is an Arteza water brush, and I'm just flicking on some water so that I can get some of that water droplet effect, and it worked out really well. And I'm just going to bring in one of my microfiber cloths and just dab that up to get that color to start lifting, and you can see all of our water droplets starting to appear. I never really loved that effect, but it is starting to grow on me. I'm liking it more and more each day. So once we get done with that, we're going to move on to starting to build our scene. So the first thing that I'm going to do for you guys, I bought in some foam, and this is just some foam that I get from Walmart or Amazon. It has an adhesive back on one side, so the adhesive side I'm going to place flat down on the card base, and I just cut this to be about 1/4 of an inch shorter than my card panel on all sides, so that it's not the entire length of the actual card base. And this helps to flatten out that watercoloring and the little bit of buckling that we gained with the amount of water that I placed on this panel. Now, I will say the Bristol smooth cardstock can take a lot of water, but it still buckles a little. So I brought in a piece of that glitter cardstock, and I have kind of roughly cut it out to be the same shape as the cup, and then I took some 1/8 inch score tape and I taped it to the back. So now, to me, that kind of gave me the idea of like bobo tea. So you guys let me know what you guys think. Now, next, what I'm going to do is those second set of pups, which I colored in a gray color, I am going to pop those up on a layer of foam tape. And what I was doing was trying to stack them so that we could have like a group, but you also can still see a large portion of all of the pups. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that release tape, and I am going to start playing with the placement of these. Now, I don't press down my foam tape until I am sure where I want it to be. You can place it down lightly and pick it back up and move it. That's one of the things that I like about the 3M foam tape. Once I get those where I want those to be, I am going to back my shaker piece with that 1/8 inch score tape, and then I am going to pop that one up right in front of the other two pups. So what I was going for here was kind of like a pack of puppies, and that was my intent with the card. I really love the way that this came out. So now I have gone in and I had my Cricut write the word leader and then of the pack. And I was initially going to do leader of the pack, and I'm using some of my contact paper, which is magic cover, to put the sentiment down. I ended up going with the word lead, and I had the Cricut write out you, so I changed the sentiment to say you lead the pack. And I blocked off the U and placed that right in between the first and last letter of lead, and then I put the pack sentiment on the right hand side. So it says you lead the pack. We have lots of shimmer, lots of shaking, lots going on here. And now we're going to start building up our card base. So of course, you guys know I like to double panel my cards. So I am going to take some of that Whimsical Garden cardstock, and I'm going to panel my first panel of my card, and then I'm going to panel it again with the glitter cardstock. Now, I usually do the exact same thing on the inside of my cards. If you are new here, I love decorating the inside of my cards. I had the Cricut write thank you for all you do, we love you on the inside. I also created 2 strips of the Whimsical Garden paper and the glitter cardstock to kind of make a label strip across the center of the inside of the card, and I'm going to have both of these pups kind of sitting there looking as if they're looking over this sentiment label. I thought that that would be really cute, and it would minimize the amount of waste that we had with our card for me to add 2 additional pups on the inside, and really that could create another card base for you all in and of itself if you wanted to do a card that looked that way. So I hope you guys can see how versatile this card this stamp set is. Jamie did an amazing job of creating this stamp set, and I cannot wait to see what she comes up with next. I do have the stamp set and everything that I used today linked in the description box below, as well as a link to the shop and all the information that you need for the giveaway. So make sure that you guys read the description box and hop along with us, and please leave me a comment if you have any questions, or just to let me know what you thought about this card. I'm going to bring in some of this grape juice sequin mixed, and I think that this one was from Trinity Stamps, but of course I will have it linked in the description box, and I'm going to use that to kind of end my card. I'm going to bring in this jewel picker that I got from Amazon. I like it just because it's glittery and shimmery, and that's really the only reason that I chose it. So I will have that linked as well in the description box, and I just sprinkled those all across the front of our card, and that is it. That is going to complete our card. Thank you guys for hopping over to the channel. I hope you guys continue to hop along, like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I will hope to talk to you guys really, really soon. I will be back with another video before you know it. Bye-bye.